Welcome everybody. Whoa, where's my mic? Oh, it's on. Oh, it is on me. Let me turn off that music. Welcome to the Rev Mel Show on TSRnetwork.com, where real people talk about real sex. What we're going to really do today is a very interesting night because we're broadcasting live on Twitter. We're broadcasting live on Facebook. We're trying Meerkat, cat, meow. And then we also are doing Periscope. So we have all of these. I can't really show you what it looks like, but we do broadcast live on TSR Network. We've been doing this for 12 years. And if you are in the chat room on TSR Network, say hello to everybody. And, this is going to be a fun show. This is just me. Normally we have guests. We have lots of people that are watching, but today we just have myself. And we're going to be talking about a certain subject, and the subject is Safe, Sane, and Consensual. What does it mean today? Does it have a different way of looking at it? And if you're if you've ever read the book 50 Shades of Grey, this is what this topic is about, because we are the real 50 Shades of Grey. We are the people that have been the movers and the shakers of the BDSM community for a very, very long time. We don't show nudity. We don't do any of that. And this is kind of funny. I'm seeing myself all over the place. So, because we're broadcasting on so many different places right now, and this is kind of fun. This is kind of interesting. I'd like to get some chat going up on Meerkat and up on Periscope. We're also on Google Plus, Twitter, Facebook, TSR Network. We're all over the place. If you are not watching the show on TSR Network, please go over to it if you can and go to TSR Network Watch Live, and you'll be able to come into the chat room and have conversations with some crazy, wild BDSM crazy people. But remember, we're about education. We're not about, showing nudity or anything like that, or talking in certain nudity ways. But what we're going to be talking about is safe, sane, and consensual. What does it mean today? And there's a reason why. And what I'm going to show right now, I'm going to wait a few more minutes before I show some of the images. There's something that happened in Staten Island. It was in the news. It was all about a young man and a young woman. She had a dog collar on her, a really thick one with points hanging out, and she was attached to a leash. And she was not just walking through the mall. She was on the ground barking and acting like a little doggy. And she was bringing the BDSM scene out into public. And when I saw this, I kind of wondered, is this really what the vanilla world is ready? And if you don't know what the vanilla world is, the vanilla world is all the people that are not into BDSM, that are not into the community of BDSM. But what's really amazing is that there's not a street in the United States that someone is not being tied to a bed, blindfolded, and spanked. That's how relevant we are in the community and in the world. We're no longer considered sick according to the Medical Association. We have fetishes, we have things that we enjoy. There's so many different dimensions of BDSM. It is not like the book 50 Shades of Grey. It is completely different. Completely. And if you're watching the show and you want to know some information about it, just type, in the chat room wherever you're at. If you're either on Meerkat or Periscope or on TSR Network, or and I don't know if I'm not going to be able to check the Twitter and the Facebook and the Google Hangout and the Facebook. I'm not going to be able to check them, but I will test. I will look at these and see if there's any comments whatsoever. And you're wondering, what is this about? Well, we've been doing TSR Network for the new people that are watching for over 12 years. We've been educating people in BDSM, all about safety, all about education. We talk a lot about protocol. We talk a lot about how our lifestyle has proceeded. I've been a female dominant for 20 years. Let me pay attention. Let me tell you something. I'm a female dominant. I am not a pro-dom. I'm a lifestyler. I respect pro-doms. I think they're awesome. They're wonderful. But I am a female dominant, which is, and I'm very well respected in the community. I've been teaching for years and years. Tommy says hello in the chat room. Hello, Tommy. He's in England. Welcome, Tommy. He's over on TSRnetwork.com. And I'm going to say to Tommy, I'm going to say, how is the audio and the video? Because we're running our live show. He says, hello, Mel. I was away for 5 minutes. Well, he's missed the beginning of the show. For Tommy, that's just came back on. We're broadcasting all over the place tonight. You know, on Meerkat, on why can't Periscope, on Google Plus, on Facebook, on FetLife, on Twitter, all over the place, and especially on our site, TSRnetwork.com. So we've been doing these shows for 12 years. We have thousands and thousands of interviews and thousands of interviews that are in our archives. So he says, both it's fine all the way in England, great. And more people will be coming on, and they're going to get wild and crazy. It always takes a few minutes. There are 2 people that are watching us on Meerkat. Welcome. On Periscope, nope, no one's watching us. But you know what? Send out the link to everybody and let them know that you can watch them on these things. It's so weird seeing me in so many different perspectives. You know, like I have it Google Hangout here. I have Periscope here. I have Meerkat there. I have TSR Network there. So I'm trying to keep focus, trying to keep it focus. So let's get back to our topic. The reason why I chose this topic is because when I saw this, I thought to myself, would we have done this 20 years ago? Would we have gone into a public place, put a collar on somebody, and had them bark like a dog? Would we have done this in the BDSM community? And there's more people that are watching on Meerkat. There's quite a few people. We will be talking about Safe, Sane, and Consensual. Tommy in the chat room on TSR Network says, I would like to see my Periscope. It extends to see if he can get that up. Yeah, so we're trying this tonight. We tried Meerkat last week on Naughty or Nice with Miss Cassie. And it turned out pretty well. We had about 35 or 40 people watching on Meerkat. We had a full house on TSR Network. This is a new avenue for us. You know, I'm on Meerkat, you're on my iPad. If I'm a little fuzzy, I'm sorry about that. And on Periscope, you are on my iPhone. And then, you know, then I have 2 computers. I have like 5 computers in my studio here, and we have them all running. And I'm looking forward and excited about, you know, teaching you guys. I'm going to see how many people are watching. I need a pair of glasses. I don't have a pair of glasses. I think there's 8 people that are watching us. I think that's what it says. I'm not sure. On Periscope, not on Periscope, on Meerkat, and nobody on Periscope. So he says, Tommy in the chat room says, Mel, did you miss? And I don't know that one. I don't know that one. So Tommy, I don't realize that is that a place to broadcast again? I don't know. We're trying to hit everything. So let's talk about our conversation. And like, I'm going to wait a few more minutes until a few more people come into the chat room on TSR Network to be able to show some slides of, I can do that now. I'm going to show a photograph of what I'm talking about, people that are wearing a collar, walking down the street. And I wonder if I can flip. No, I'm not going to. I'm going to show him right now. Tommy will be able to see it in the chat room and the other people. See, this is what happened. She wasn't just walking down the, you know, with the collar on her and a leash. She was on her knees, barking like a dog and acting like a dog. And there's kids, and Tommy's he's laughing out loud. He thinks it's really, really funny and hysterical. But what succeeded in that was that when I saw that, I decided that I was going to post the link to the news article, because I thought it was really, really important to post it through. So then I put up a thing in TSR Studios on FetLife, and I'm going to open that up right now on FetLife. And basically, I would love others' opinions of this. People are freaking out over this photo of a woman being walked around on a leash. And the responses that I got was remarkable. You know, some people say, I know, I would have smiled and walked by, but I can see how unsuspecting public might be offended or upset by the attention seekers. There's a time and a place for everything. And in a public shopping mall, it's not either of those. Now, if you agree with me, please type in any of the chat rooms that you guys have open. I would love to have your opinions of this. And it gets going. People start talking, they go, one person said, to me, I view it that there is a time and a place type of a thing. I mean, you go into a mall on a leash could be taken as risque for the general public. Very shocking to see. I think that, as said above, in the shopping mall are certainly not appropriate place to express that. A lot of people are starting to say they don't like it, but it changes. It changes. You've got two different generations, okay? You have the generation of people that have been in the lifestyle for 10, 15, 20 years, and they're saying that it's not right. And then you have the younger generation that kind of changes the tune. So what is safe, sane, and consensual, you wonder? Okay? And I'm going to go back to the chat room. And you can see the chat room on the screen, and there's Tommy and some of the things that he has said. What is safe, sane, and consensual? Safe means that you're in a safe situation, that you're safe with each other, that you know each other. Sane means that there are two adults. You talked about doing a scene. You negotiate. It's not like 50 Shades of Grey where she's just handed a contract. It's where you sit down and you meet somebody and you talk to somebody. Okay, and you talk to them about them. We have Darren is in the chat room. Welcome, Darren. Welcome. He's in the chat room on TSR Network. The chat room is starting to fill up. So, and what is consensual? Okay, my take of consensual is this. You ready for this? My sense is this. Consensual is when two people consent to doing a scene, but that's in a private scene. And also, when you go to a dungeon, you normally sign a waiver saying that you know what's going on in this club. When you're out in public, you can't give consent to the people that are in public. You have children, you have, teenagers, you have youngsters, you have, parents, grandmothers, all sorts of people that are not into the BDSM scene. And they really don't understand or comprehend what's going on. So they're a little shocked at that. They can't quite understand what all of this craziness is in this fetish and this taboo sort of stuff. When you're exposed to it, when you're exposed to so many different ways of doing BDSM, then it's kind of like a commonplace for you, and you kind of get desensitized. I'm going to show the photo once again on TSRnetwork.com in the chat room for the people can see. I think if the woman was walking around just with the collar and not getting down on her hands and knees, I think that would be more appropriate. But there's more. There's more, which is amazing, because they go outside, and let me get to that one, which I think is absolutely hysterical. I'm going to show a video on TSR Network right now. So they go outside, and here's a video of them outside. For the people that are on Meerkat and for the people that are on all the other places that really aren't on TSR Network that can't see it, she's at a park, and there's water there, and I don't know if there's a fountain there or anything, but she's at a park, and she decides to go into the park. Watch this, or into the water. And I can't wait to see what my peeps on TSR Network think of this. And then she's going to shake herself like a little doggy. She dipped her head in. Now she's shaking like a little poochie. Her collar's off. And to me, that is hysterical. Oh, let's show it again. Okay, the guys want to see it in the chat room once more time. There it is. Are you ready? She's going to shake it. And this video was taken by Victor King in New York City. So, and she's shaking out her head. Let's do it one more time. This is crazy. So I'm just watching it with them. So in the chat room, let's see what the people in the chat room think about what they just saw. Oh, they go, it was a fountain pool. Okay, there we go. Fountain pool. Darren says in the chat room, they're just shocking people. They're being stupid. I've seen this video before, and this is what he said. Tommy says, I don't think that this is an appropriate place for a couple to consent, but the public mall does not consent. Yes, and I agree with you. I agree the fact that they do not consent. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the conversation on TSR Network. And let me open it up for the people in my chat room can see. Let me see FetLife. Here we go. Okay. Panther Prowls is a very, very well-known teacher of BDSM in the BDSM community. And he says, in most of San Francisco, you can do similar, and a few would even raise an eyebrow. During Folsom Street Fair, people come looking to see this. On the other paw, in a little town is a different place. It would probably get us run out of town. So while I think that each can make their own choices, sometimes discretion is a better part of valor. I agree with you. And yet, a third point, how different it is that this can be seen in the LGBT community on the street. As long as one does not act in a sexual manner, it can be inappropriate in public anyway. Who cares? Just walking down the street in a collar and a leash. I don't have a really big problem with it. And while I understand others' opinions are not consensual, involving others in their kink, but what about not being ashamed of who they are and what they are? It is okay to be gay or lesbian or transgender in public, but not kinky. As I said, as long as the sexual aspects are limited, then I don't have a big problem with it. And that's a really, really interesting point of view, because it's okay to be all of these other things that we do, but being kinky and being into BDSM. We've got ZYRR, however that is. He's from Turkey. Hello, welcome. He says he likes this. Thank you. I'm glad that you like this. Please tweet this out to your friends. And he is on Meerkat. And Griff, I'm going to go back to my FetLife one. Griff says, I will play the devil's advocate and will ask how this is different than two men kissing in the mall. So in the chat rooms, how is this different? Is this any different? Now, remember, I'm old school. So I think of things safe, sane, consensual means a lot to me. But has consensual changed? Has the younger generation changed the way that we look at consensual? It gets better. I mean, it gets so much better. I mean, I'm going to go back into my my chat room and see what they're saying. There it is. I have them up on the screen. Tommy says, I agree. Her boobs look like they might be. Tommy likes boobs. That's what he does. He likes boobs. And it's going to get wilder, more crazier. There are more people that are watching us on Meerkat. Please welcome. And Periscope, you guys are lacking. I tell you, Periscope people, you better get on here, because I'm going to start promoting Meerkat, because they're doing really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the photograph once again, so the people that are in our chat room on TSR Network can see it. That's them doing their little play, and she's on her knees and going woof, 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 doing doggy play. And they were told they had to leave the mall. And then they were interviewed. I did not copy and do the video of their interview. I didn't think that was right of me to do that. So, because I didn't own it, but I could show the photograph. So scrolling back down to the conversation that we had on FetLife, here's one. Okay, I'm going to show it in my chat room. They're going to be able to see it because they're watching the show live on TSR Network. Charles Legra says, I see plenty of people do things I don't consent to every day, like young men with jeans that sag over their butt. What's up with that anyhow? So I don't think consent is the right word, because onlookers aren't being forced to participate. Do they approve? No. But I live my life knowing most vanillas wouldn't approve of the way we live. But damned if that meant that I'm going to live in a closet. I'm out and I'm proud of it. For me, for us, because it's a couple, and our MS, which MS is master-slave relationship, is exactly like being gay. Some people may be able to date vanilla. Some people may not need the 24/7 living together. But for those who do, like us, it isn't sex, it's our way of life. It doesn't significantly mean that we're all about leashes or things. But sometimes it takes someone who is willing to stand out like a sore thumb in order to raise awareness. And I applaud that. Whether we're talking about the organization Pride Awareness, and I applaud that. Whether we're talking about organizing Pride March or just two that are not afraid to let their uniqueness shine through, this is courageous, and I applaud them for that. Okay, now Chili Gal in that commented in this group that we had commenting, she says, the difference for me is that the collar leash is very much of a power dynamic. There is a time and a place for everything. If a vanilla heterosexual transgender couple is kissing inappropriate in public, that would certainly annoy me. I do acknowledge your point, though, that same-sex couples kissing certainly always offends someone as much as it annoys me. It's really interesting how they are bringing in the transgender, the gay relationships and all of this, when being kinky is really a bad taboo in most people's mind. But like I said earlier when we started the show, I definitely believe that there's a time and a place for everything. And, we all have different, I'm scrolling down I can see what other people have said, because the conversation gets pretty crazy. Here's one that points out, I'm going to put Dio's baby girl says, it's not right. Don't put your kink out there for those who do not want to see it. And these people at the mall did not ask to see this. So it's not consensual for them. And then we have our young friend Tommy that's in England. He said, I'm not sure what consent of others in the mall has to do with it. She's not naked. They're not making out. They're not having sex of any kind. It's not really societally appropriate for any environment. And he also says she's pretty cute. And then he says some pretty crazy things in there. And then I wrote in there, I said, question, if you were not in the life choice, that means a BDSM, and you had children under the consent age, would it bother you to see this in public? How do you explain it to a child? If a man is spanking his wife at a mall, or a mistress pulls down the pants of her slaves and canes his bottom, would that be any different? I just wonder how you all feel about this. And it's amazing how people have talked about how they feel about this. It is pretty crazy. Let me get back to the chat room. So I want to see what the conversation is going on. He said, what Tommy in the chat room says, what if he was just wearing the big collar and nothing else? That's nudity. You can't. Little T is in the chat room. Welcome, Little T. She's in the chat room on TSR Network. We're starting to have a lot of people watching the show. If you just tuned in, you're wondering what this is all about. This is about I'm going to show the picture in the chat room because we just had somebody come in, about a couple that was in a mall in Staten Island that she was on a leash and a doggy collar, and she got down on her hands and knees and was barking like a dog, and he was leading her around on all fours. And then she continued to go into and put the video on so they can see it in the chat room for the people that have just walked in. Ooh, that's wrong. There we go. And basically, she goes in and soaks her head, and then she, this big pond, and then she shakes it like a doggy, and her collar is off right now, and she's shaking it like a doggy. So that is what it looks like. And go back to my camera. So this is what we're talking about. Safe, Sane, and Consensual. Has it changed today? And for the people in the chat room on TSR Network, please let me know what you feel about little T. If you saw somebody doing this in the mall where you live, would you accept this, and would this be an acceptable thing for you? So when we're talking about children being exposed to this, okay, so Charla Allegra said, sheltering children makes them vulnerable and naive. Educating them makes them capable and wise. Keeping kids in the dark about everything isn't approved to be on Flintstones cartoons. May be a tradition, but it doesn't mean it's smart, and they should be well informed. So, and Chili said, if I was with children who had questions, she says, right or wrongly, I would just brush it off and say they're attention seekers looking for controversy, which I think is right. I see no need to overthink and explain things to young children. If it was a teenager, I would give them more information as it appropriate to see the level of interest. So there are so many different ways of looking at things. And people that are in the chat room, people that are watching this, what is your opinion of this? Is it something that people should be doing in a public place? If you don't know anything about BDSM, and if you're curious about it, if you've read the book 50 Shades of Grey, 50 Shades of Grey, I'm going to take a glass of water. Oh my God, it's like Rubio. Here. So, Tommy says, I don't think people should make out in public indiscreetly, and I would put that mall thing in the similar category. Okay, thank you for sharing. In the BDSM, we have certain things have been set up, and they were set up mostly by the gay leather community, which has been awesome. They're the forefathers, and they put in a lot of protocol and a lot of things in place because they really had to not only hide their kinkiness, but they also had to hide the fact that they were gay. And so it was very difficult for them. So they kind of put all of these things in place. They put in Safe, Sane, and Consensual. Safe, Sane, and Consensual means that you are safe with your play, that you consent to it, and that you are sane. And to the vanilla world, we don't seem too sane for the things that we do. And I'd like some input from my chat room because of the fact that we don't do things that are normal. But there are people that do spankings. There are people that blindfold their lovers and that gag them and that, paddle them. Tommy in the chat room says he's rather prudish. So I didn't know that about you. He's always talking about boobs and, sexy girls and all those sort of things. But we've had quite a few people on Meerkat that are watching this. And, well, if you just joined us, we're with TSRnetwork.com. We do live TV shows all about BDSM because we are the real 50 Shades of Grey. We're not what the book is all about. And we basically, believe in safe, sane, and consensual. But there are more to the story. I'm going to scroll down in the conversation that we had. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to go on FetLife, put this for the people can see. Mirth and Beth said, if you're assuming a child would need an explanation, the issue in the definition of what is wrong to do in public has always been a moving target. Politicians have been biased, but they can get elected. Oh, no, I'm not going to do that one. That's not good. Okay, I'm going to go farther down. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm looking at a group that we had that we were talking about this. Lady in leather polish said, only on Halloween. She says, then you can explain it to kids as role playing. And Lord Bubba, don't you love these names? Lord Bubba. Hi, Lord Bubba said, I've been involved in the lifestyle for a very long time. I have sort of been there, done that, worn out a couple of times of the t-shirts. And being that said, I find this argument to be very disturbing, particularly due to the fact that even when an argument about protecting children and explaining to them, etc., some of you that I assume you are not parents, have come down the very liberal side of freed speech and have even presented the opinion that they have the right to act in this manner. The truth of the matter is, I think of myself as an incredible liberal person on some topics and very conservative on others. This is one of the conservative ones. What gives this couple a right to intrude upon my grandchildren's world and cause them to question their own sense of appropriateness? I dare say, I submit that they do not have permission to violate the sanctity of my son's role and their father, of my own role as my grandfather. It is simply as that for me, as the adults will get to choose when they are exposed to further learning opportunities, not some inconsiderate little twerp that leads this girl puppy around in the mall. He is effectively overridden my son's choice as their father, as that when they are being exposed to the craziness of the aspect of the world. And that is an assumption of responsibility that I do not believe that they have ever have been properly considered. They have no idea that their grandfather may lead a puppy around on a leash, nor do I want them to know at this point of their innocent life. There are plenty of troubles in the world for them to have contend with in their own due time, with their own parents' choice, not when you choose to expose it to them. I truly feel that some of you have said it's okay as a part of a reason of our lifestyle has not yet become acceptable in modern society. The shock value is precisely why I feel that it is inappropriate for so many levels. Sure, someone has to be on the groundbreaker, the creator of a new program, or I can't say that word. I can't read with it. Just don't do it to my grandchildren. Now, the next person said, shaming others into staying in the closet is something that gays did to each other through the 1970s, because a culture that hated them caused them to eternalize and with shame until people got fed up and started to march and out and to be proud. Being kinky today is like being gay in the 1970s, completely the shaming from other people who share in the same orientation. You see how this is kind of moving around? And High Lord Bubba says, you certainly presume too much about my role as a parent and then as a grandparent. Then you assume too much about your role as modeling. And I did not shame you or insult you in any way. I simply expressed my opinion. The OP asked for that opinion. I believe thus that I will continue to express it whether you approve it or not. And you will not disagree with me. I respect your rights to do so. I simply ask the same right in return. So you can see how this is kind of like twisting. BDSM is really complex. And people aren't even aware of that there may be a dungeon right down the corner from you. Heather is in the chat room. Welcome, Heather. I hope that you're enjoying this. Since Heather has come in, little T says, I say it's not appropriate because it's not common. It's not socially accepted, and too many young, impressionable minds will be present. What the couple did was not indecent, but it was a bit peculiar in general public. And I'm going to show Heather. She has just come into the chat room on TSR Network to kind of catch her up on what we're talking about. This is a photograph of the young couple that was in Staten Island, and she was barking like a dog and going on all fours, and he was leading her around the mall. He looks a little smug to me, but that's my only opinion of him. Is he a groundbreaker? Did he change things? I don't know how much this man has changed things for people, but some people are not agreeing with it. And now let me show you the next the video for she can see this also. And this is, oh, let me freak that over. This is a video of her jumping into the pool or the fountain, and then she shakes her head like a little doggy. And this is out in public, and Tommy says she has great boobs, but you know Tommy in the chat room. So this is what we're talking about, safe, sane, and consensual. And you could see in the dialogue that was in the TSR group on FetLife that people were getting very passionate about it. If you have any questions, please, ask questions in the. Let me see if there's. Oh, I didn't do this right. Okay. I'm going to put that down. Okay. If you're on Meerkat and you have any questions, please, type it in. Let's see what else we can do. Little T says, those 2 comments are the answers, Rev Mel. I had a previous comment too. You had one in the chat on FetLife, right? Correct? I'm going to see if I can find that right now for her. I think Little T did make a comment in there. Let me scroll down and see if I can find it. I mean, this got pretty crazy. We got quite a few people commenting on this because people were really passionate about this. It's like the older generation kind of respected the consent, and the younger generation just says it's, we're just wild and we're just going to do what we want to do. And I'm looking to see, maybe, I don't think Little T commented on that one. I think she commented on the TSR Network one. Let me scroll up. Oh, here it is. Little T says, I would be surprised since it's not the norm. Knowing the lifestyle, I would respect it. Yes, it's appropriate is it appropriate in the mall? Not really. I never knew of the BDSM life, and if I didn't know of the BDSM life, I'd say, what the fuck? Oh, and then we have, we can't get bleeped out of here. We have Don Javier that has come into the chat room on TSR Network. He is a male dominant, and I'm going to expose the photograph to him because we got to get him caught up. Okay, here's the photograph of the 2 people at the mall. They're just sitting there, and she's on her knees, and she's barking. She was on all 4s all over the mall, walking around. Finally, a security guard came up to her and says, you got to leave, and you got to go, and they did. And so, and then W1GGINS says, hello from Alabama. Hello, welcome. Welcome. We are talking about kink, and we're talking about what's appropriate to do in Safe, Sane, and Consensual. So welcome, Alabama, who is on Meerkat. This is awesome and wonderful. So, and that's the picture, and then we're going to go back to the video. So, I did to the video here. So, Dom Javier can see it. Let's back it backwards. There she goes. She's jumping in the water. She's going to shake. WIGG says wiggles. So welcome. Let me go back to my camera. So we're showing all different sorts of things here. We have so much open. Maybe I should give you guys, see if I could give you guys a little bit of point of view of what's going on. No, I don't think I can. So I should have another person with another iPhone over here so I could show you everything. But we're doing an interesting thing on Meerkat, on TSR Network, on Facebook, on Google+, on Twitter, all over the place, on FetLife. I mean, we are all over. On Little T, I mean, Javier in the chat room says, Little T says hello to her. He says, did you get her side on the sale? Did he get her on sale at the pet store? That's funny. That's funny. That's hysterical. That's really hysterical. For the people that have just joined us on Meerkat, if you don't know anything about us, we are with TSRnetwork.com. We do live TV shows about BDSM. We're about education. That he goes, ha, ha, ha. No, Wiggins. Wiggins. So sorry, Wiggins. Hello, Wiggins from Alabama. Welcome. So we do shows all about education and safety on BDSM. We've been doing it for 12 years. We have had amazing, amazing guests on BDSM. So I've been a female dominant for 20 years. I've been teaching for over 12. I'm the founder and producer of TSR Network. We're down to 2 shows, but we were up to 7 live shows, and we're going to get back up there again. And Wiggins says, hello, Wiggins, nice to see you. So if you're not in the chat room at TSR Network, join us in the chat room at TSR Network and come and hang out, with like-minded people. But we are the real 50 Shades of Grey. We are not fluff like the book. We are not mommy porn. We do the real things. We spank people. We tie them up. We gag them. We do nipple clips on their boobies. We do so many different things. We do knife play, fire play, floggings. We go to dungeons. I'm a member of the Lear Sod and North Hollywood in Los Angeles area. We are so lucky in Los Angeles. We have so many different clubs. We have the Lear Sod, we have Threshold, we have Sanctuary, we have the Bardello, we have Dragon's Gate. In Los Angeles, our community is very, very strong. We have a thing called DomCon every year. There's a whole bunch of conventions, a whole bunch of munches. Munches are when like-minded people get together for a bite to eat so they can discuss and talk and meet other like-minded people. We are not the crazy people that you think we are. Like I said earlier when I first started the show, there is not a street in the United States that someone is not being tied to a bed, blindfolded, and spanked. We are not that much different than everyone else. So, except we may take it to the, oh, Javier's teasing me. He always talks about goat love. He's crazy, crazy, crazy. He likes to tease me. Javier used to have a show on TSR Network, and you can see his show on, if you go to TSR Network archives and go to Vocal, you'll see the Dom Javier show. He tells horrible jokes. They're never funny. He thinks they're funny, and he's probably pissing in his pants as I'm talking about that right now. Oh, I'm talking bad. Oh my God. But we've had quite a few people watching the shows on Meerkat, which is great. I like this. We'll be doing this again tomorrow night at 9 o'clock on Naughty and Nice with Miss Cassie. And I will be running the board. I'll be running the camera and everything. And it will be a lot of fun. Tommy says, I said her boobs might be nice, but we don't see well enough. Therefore, he reserves his judgment. Yes. Little T says that I look gorgeous tonight, by the way. Thank you. Thank you. I know you've missed me. I've taken a few weeks off. I came back last week. I'll be taking a few more weeks off, and I will be going to Detroit, Michigan, which is awesome. I'll be hitting some of the dungeons in Detroit and seeing a lot of my friends. But we are the real 50 Shades of Grey. Javier says, if you want me to have my show back, send me money. Oh, God. Yeah, that's right. If you're wondering where I'm getting that from the chat room on TSR Network. So, but so if you have any opinions about what is safe, sane, and consensual, would any of you guys in the chat room, in any of the chat rooms that are watching this, would any of you do this or see this? And you know what? I'm going to try to pull up. Oh, I'm going to see if I can pull up and see if there's any chat going on in. No, there isn't. On Google Plus, there's no chat going on, so I'm not going to open that up. Let's get back to the chat room on TSR Network, and more people are coming in onto Meerkat. If you're wondering what this is behind the scenes of a live show called the Rev Mel Show on TSR Network, where we talk about real people, talk about real sex with really kinky people. And I've been talking for 43 minutes, and our show lasts, I think Meerkat only goes like 45 minutes, and then it chums out. So we may lose our Meerkat people. And I don't know about Periscope. I don't know if we'll lose people on Periscope. It would be great if you guys could see the whole show. But in the chat question on TSR, please type in your questions. We would love to answer some questions. So for the people who don't know anything about BDSM, we're mothers, we're fathers, we're doctors, lawyers, we're school teachers, we're film people, we're students, we're all different walks of life, which is pretty amazing. BDSM has really evolved. When I first got into BDSM, I thought I was a submissive, to give you a little bit of background, and I was really lousy. He wanted me to suck his, Fisteris. I don't know what I can say on Meerkat, so I don't know if it's, if they bleep us out. And I looked at him and I said, no way. And a very nice dominant said, you might try your hand at being a female dominant. I am not a pro dom. I am a lifestyle dominant. I don't get paid for what I do. I do it because I love it. BDSM has given me, when I first walked into the BDSM community, I was a willing victim. I am no longer a willing victim. I like who I am. I like the woman I've become. I'm very, very strong. I'm very strong-minded. But it has taught me so much about living and about life and respect. The foundation of BDSM, it's honor and integrity and trust. If you don't have these things in place, if your word is not your bond, then BDSM is not for you. We have a tremendous amount of predators that come into our community, and also what happens in our community, believe it or not, there's some human trafficking coming into our community. They go onto our websites that they can do dating, like I'm not going to mention the websites, and they basically say, submissive male or female wants a dominant, and they'll do anything for it, and then they get into trouble. We did a show called human trafficking and BDSM, and we had a young lady that was basically for 3 months was in captivity, and she was able to be released, and we call her Jane Doe, and because she could not have her face on screen because they were charging the people they were going to court. But it happens in all walks of life, whether it's vanilla, BDSM, gay, lesbian, whatever people. People are always, looking for someone that is vulnerable. Javier in the chat room says he wants to know what color my underwear is. How do you know I'm wearing any? I may not have any panties. Yeah, they ask me risque questions all the time in the chat room. Good thing I have a great sense of humor. But like I said, we are the real 50 Shades of Grey. We don't pretend to be anything else. We have a lot of people that are in the chat room on TSR Network that have been in the lifestyle for a long time. I am an educator. I have taught all over the country. I've been teaching at the Lear Assad classes for new people called S&M 101 for the last 12 years. And I have met so many people that are curious, that come into the lifestyle expecting something and then finding out that it isn't what they expected, that it was more. It is about honor and integrity. It is about learning how to use the implements that you have. Maybe next week I'll bring some implements and I'll show them. I'm going to be teaching at the stock room. I think it's on the 13th of June on the stock room in Los Angeles. I'm going to be teaching a class on negotiations and the implements that you use. So we've had about 20 some people watching us on Meerkat, which is awesome. Javier says he's wearing boxers with fur panties. They're crazy in there. They're crazy. But you got to have a good sense of humor with BDSM. If you don't have a good sense of humor, it's no use in getting into it, because what can go wrong can go wrong. I mean, it gets really nutty. But you learn certain things. You learn certain rules. You learn how to respect yourself, and you learn how to respect others. Like I said, it's not like the book 50 Shades of Grey. But 50 Shades of Grey have brought so many people into our community. Little T is saying scroll back. I'm going to scroll back. She's going to send Javier some money. Is that what that was? Or is there another thing you want me to scroll back to, Little T? You said I looked gorgeous. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm back on a diet. I am trying to lose weight again. Last week I saw myself on the show. We did a show with a comedian, Suzanne Brisk, and it was hysterical. I mean, she's really funny. And we were talking about BDSM and stuff like that. And I looked at it and I was like, and I go, oh my God, how did that happen? So I'm back on, no more ice cream in my house. I'm an ice cream freak. Ooh, the things that you can do with ice cream. But on TSR Network, we talk about all different sorts of subjects. I mean, you'd be surprised what we talk about. I don't know on Meerkat. I got to look at the rules and see what they say you can and cannot do. But we don't show any nudity because we're on YouTube. We air live on YouTube, and you can watch our shows at YouTube at TSR Network. Or you can go to our archives on TSRnetwork.com and watch the shows there. Don Javier is still talking about goats. I don't know why he talks about goats. Maybe it's because I have an Albanian last name. That might be it. But I'm not Albanian. And he says Rev Mel needs to become a sex toy. Oh, yeah, right. Yep. And if you're wondering what my name is, I'm an ordained minister, believe it or not. And I believe that God likes us to have sex, or else we would not been built this way. And we would not have had the passion and the joy of it, and the feeling. So I think that that is pleasing, pleasing. But a lot of people may not agree with me, but I think sex is something that everybody does, once or twice or 50 million times of your life. And then when you start, there's a lot of people that have gotten into BDSM because something was lacking in their life, in their sex life, and they wanted to kind of spice it up. That's why 50 Shades of Grey, mommy porn, did so well. I mean, so many women read it. I read 220 pages of it, and I put it down, and I could not finish it. And a friend of mine is giving me the audio tapes where I can at least hear the whole thing, and I could probably go forward and backwards and get the whole grist of the story. I didn't feel that it portrayed the BDSM community. We are more than just controlling another human being. Yes, we do have narcissistic sociopaths in our lifestyle, but that person was a narcissistic sociopath. But it's bringing so many people into our lifestyle. Another Rubio. I should do that. Every time on my show, I should go, hello, Rubio. Yes, I follow politics because we're educated people in BDSM. We're informed. Can Rev Mel give herself an exorcism? No, I don't. You want me to give myself an exorcism? Thank you, Don Javier. Thank you for that. That's hysterical. That's really funny. So it's really surprising. Meerkat has been airing for 52 minutes. So I wonder if it was a friend of mine did it, and it only lasted like 30 minutes or 45 minutes and it stopped. Or maybe it was like the last 5 minutes they didn't get. Maybe it only goes 55 minutes. I don't have a clue. But we've had about 23 people watching the show on Meerkat, which is great. We have quite a few people that are in the chat room. We have my favorites. My favorites are Don Javier, Darren, Little T, and Tommy. And let's see how many people there are. Lots of people that are watching us on Google Hangout. If you're on Google Hangout, come over to TSR Network and join the chat on TSR Network. So we're just hanging out. We've got only like 7 or 8 more minutes of the show. And we were talking about what is safe, sane, and consensual. And my personal opinion of it is that I really don't believe that anyone has the right to push their kink on anybody else in public. We may like to do that in the privacy of our own bedrooms and in our dungeons. And, but I don't think the world is ready for us to do stuff publicly. I think when we go to Folsom, which is awesome, Folsom Street Fair, which is wild and crazy, I mean, absolutely crazy. You see things that you'll never see in a public place before. And it's pretty amazing to watch it. And it's pretty amazing to go to quite an event like that. And then when we were at DomCon one year, there was a whole group of people that was looking at our table and looking at all the people that were coming in dressed in latex and leather, and people on leashes and all sorts of things. And, the hotel had thousands and thousands of kinksters that was there for DomCon. And there was a table of 8 people. And they sat looking at us, and they sat and looked at everybody that walked by. And we got up to leave. And I went up to the table, and I went up to one of the gentlemen. I says, I think you have a question. And he goes, yes, what is this? What's going on here? We don't understand it. And that's when I came up with that saying, there's not a street in the United States that someone is not being tied to a bed, blindfolded, and spanked. So it was kind of a little crazy. So it was nuts. But it was great. They understood it completely. They understood what I meant by it. And it's getting really warm in here. Los Angeles has been really warm, and we turned the air conditioner down because you can hear it in the microphone. So I turned it down, so I'm getting hot. It's because Don Javier is in the chat room. Ooh, yes, He wants to be my dominant. Yeah, that's a big joke. Not that he's a joke. No, 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 no. He's not a joke. It's just that I'm a dominant. He's a dominant. What will we do? Play bingo? I mean, it would be ridiculous for us to be together. But there are couples that are dominants that stay together. And, what works. In BDSM, you've got a lot of things. You've got poly relationships. You've got slaves and masters. And then we have Justin has just come into the chat room. Welcome, Justin. And, we have all sorts of different types of people. We have different types of toys that we play with. We have floggers and paddles, oh my, which I will be teaching at the stock room on I think the 13th of June. It's on a Saturday, and it says whips. I think it says whips and chains and some whips and paddles, oh my. And it will be negotiating how to use your implements and your toys. And it will be how to negotiate. So they're all in the chat room talking, and we've got only like 4 more minutes to go. This has been quite an interesting show. We're still airing live on Meerkat, which is great. So we've had quite a few people watching us there. Hello, Justin, who's just come in the chat room. And I'm going to catch him up for a little bit. I'm going to show the photograph again. There's the photograph of the people that basically got us all talking on FetLife. And then I'm going to show him the video. There it goes. Let's back it up a little bit. There's the video, which she's going to go right back. Oh, she's shaking her head now. Wait a minute. There it goes. She's going jumping in the pool. Okay. Whatever that is, in a public park, shaking her head like a little doggy. Yep. Ruff, 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 ruff. Okay. That's what we've been talking about. And people in the chat room. So we've got 3 more minutes to go. Any questions? Any questions from anybody in any of the chat rooms? We have quite a few people that are watching on Google+. If you're watching the show, shoot in on the chat room just to say goodbye. But BDSM, it means bondage, discipline, sadomasochism. And it's been around for a very, very long time. People have been doing this for hundreds and thousands of years. Women have been being spanked by their husband and getting stimulated by it. It's nothing new. It will be with us forever. And little T says, I'm off. Good night. Good night, little T. So she's, And Darren says they need a whooping. Who needs a whooping? I don't need a whooping. I don't like to be spanked. But I hope that you guys have been enjoying this. And if you've missed the show, it will be airing on the archives on TSRnetwork.com. So make sure that you go there. Or it'll be aired on Google+, YouTube. Like we have it up on Facebook, Twitter, everywhere that you can imagine. It is there. And I'm trying to figure out if we could do more and put it somewhere else so we could be really what is it called in the chat room? What's that word called? I can't say it. It's when it's in different places at one time. I can't say the word. It's the green tea. See? Rubio. So you're wondering why I'm saying Rubio is because he was drinking water when he was giving a speech about the last elections. Justin said he just got here. I'm going to need an encore. And then Javier says encore and encore. You guys start asking me questions. We can go as long as you guys want. You know that. I don't have a time limit on the show. Normally it's an hour. But it's really getting hot in here. It's really getting warm. And I've got to turn on an air. There's 24 people that have watching us on Meerkat, which has been great. And I don't know, maybe I'm not young and sexy enough. Ooh, I think I'm sexy. What do you guys think in the chat room? Little T, you think I'm sexy? I'm just looking to see who. Syndicated. Thank you, Little T. I could not say that word, but looking at it, so it kind of makes us syndicated with having all the different venues that we go out on. And so we'll see how many people actually, watch the shows and how many people tell their friends and tweet it out. And normally I have guests. Normally it's not just me. We have guests, and most of them are dressed in fetish wear and stuff like that. But it's 9 o'clock. You know what? I think we're going to end the show, but I'm going to end it on Meerkat. I'm going to say to everyone that's on Meerkat, I want to thank you all for watching. This has been awesome. And for the other one, which is oh my God, what is wrong with me? Javier says, I think it's a bad idea to put your kink in front of other people's children. Parents should have the right to raise their children without someone forcing their kink on in front of their kids. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%, Javier. I think that's really important. It's very important that you respect that privacy. But some people disagree with me. And we're probably going to get a lot of people writing, comments on this going, no, Miss Rev Mel, you're wrong. And the comment is this, is that a lot of people feel, mostly the younger generation feels that they can do their kink wherever they want to. That they're, being out there. And that they're changing the way that we look at kink and BDSM. But that's not always the truth. That's not always, we don't want to alienate people, but we are the last people that will be coming out. I mean, you've got the poly lifestyle is probably before us. I don't know if I will ever see kink really being accepted. We're accepted in our clothing. There's lots of pictures of kink all over the place in magazines. Celebrities are dressing in kink, and they're dressing in latex, and they're dressing, up. And 50 Shades of Grey did absolutely tremendous in the books, and I don't know how well the movie did, but we're not quite there yet. Right now, we're just considered mommy porn. That's all we're considered to the outside world, because they don't know us. They don't understand that their next door neighbor could be into BDSM, or they don't understand that the person that works next to them in their office could be, in the lifestyle. So once they start finding out and they start having conversations and they start realizing that we're not as abnormal as what you would think we were, like I said earlier, we're doctors, lawyers, we're, teachers, we're professors, we're, cooks, we're, CFOs of companies. I mean, we're librarians. I mean, you'd be surprised on who we are. People that play music. I mean, so many people that come to the Lalir Assad. I mean, we are all professional people. We have this other thing that we do and we like to do, and that's BDSM. We like to play. We like to have fun. We like to put a little bit of spice in our life. And that's why 50 Shades of Grey did so well. They put a little bit of spice in people's lives, especially women, and which I don't, it didn't give us enough of what our community is like. That's why I teach. Darren said, Darren in the chat room says, because we're ungodly. No, we're not. We're godly. I believe that many people that are into BDSM are religious people. I don't think we're any different. Some go to church, some don't go to church. I mean, I'm an ordained minister and I'm in the lifestyle. I believe in that. Javier says there's a difference between rights and responsibility. For every corresponding right, there is a corresponding of responsibility. See, that's the key is, did the people that did the doggy play in public, were they being responsible? Were they just there for shock value? And that's my question. I like to question on that. Was it done just for shock value? And if it was, I mean, what good will it do our community? We're going to look like little freaks and geeks all over the place, like we, which is, I don't know. I just don't know. But shock value. I think taking responsibility, and that's what you have to do in life, is you got to take responsibility for your actions that you do. Whether you're into kink, BDSM, or whatever you're into, you might be a furry, you might be, like little play. People don't know what little play. Little play is when adults act like little children, and they're not really children. They're adults consenting to this play. There's all different types of what I am really shocked at. what I've seen in the past 20 years is BDSM was so clear. Now with FetLife, it has pushed all of us together as one. Whether you're a little, a furry, whatever you are, I mean, it's putting all of our kinks and all of our fetishes all underneath one umbrella. Justin says, we are in a sexual revolution. It seems that kink is even on TV. To see people with clothes on is a prank, makes a point. In Phoenix, we have a whip in the park event. It's clean, but the whip cracks are for everyone to see. Well, that can be easily explained. I mean, you have people, I mean, doing whips. You have people doing that with rodeo people, or you know, people that master that craft. You know, there's whip masters that have gone out for competitions. Whip, I think, could be easily accepted, but a flogging, a spanking, a paddling, I don't know, would be too easily accepted right now. And we have been in a sexual revolution since the 60s. This is nothing new. The 60s, we started it. We started our liberal thoughts, and we've created a monster in our world. You know, we've created the sexual revolution. As soon as we burned our bras and we got the pill and we were able to have abortions, you know, we basically changed the way that we looked at sexuality. And are we any better off? Who knows? But sexual revolution has been going on for a very, very long time. And yes, Javier, who said in the chat room, we have always had kink. He said he found it 40 years ago. Yes, there's always been kink. I mean, look at the Marquis de Sade. Look at the kink that he wrote about. I mean, look how long ago that was. I mean, that is just, you know, this is nothing new. Nothing new to the world, nothing new to society, except we've hidden it, and we've hidden it in a closet. Would we like to bring it out? I don't know how we're going to bring it out. I do. I have BDSMPrideDay.com, and we did 2 live events that lasted 7 hours live show. We did the TSR People's Choice Awards, TSR Network People's Choice Awards. And we had 7 hours of live broadcasting on the show. And our whole thing about BDSM Pride is that we can take one day and play in our dungeons, or have a parade, or do whatever we want to, you know, come out to the public, let them know who we are, that we're proud of it, but we don't have to inundate them every single moment. And that's what the gay leather, I mean, the gay pride did. I mean, they didn't just come out one day and that was it. They worked hard. They massed together. They had things in common. They had in common that they were gay. They also had AIDS, you know, and you know, many people were dying, and they came together as a community, as a group. In our BDSM community, we do not come together as a group. We have this side that goes to this side and that side, but we never come together as one. It's never been that way, and I don't know how we're gonna develop that. That's why I created BDSM Pride Day, because I wanted us to come all because we have one thing in common. Whether you're a heterosexual, whether you're transgender, whether you're gay, whether you're a lesbian, whether you're, we have that in common of BDSM, and it's very important that we come together as a community. And there are people that say we do not have a community, and I say that's bull. We have a community. We just don't have leaders that are strong enough to organize all of us together. And we're trying. We're too busy starting our own little clubs and our own little things and our own little things as separating. We can't separate and become one. We have one thing in common, and that's BDSM. We all like it. There's something about BDSM that we enjoy doing. And until we find that link, like the leather, or the gay and leather men, and how they came together, until we find the way to do that, our community functions from such bloated, huge egos. Take the ego out of it. Become one with this community. If we keep ragging on the community, it's never going to grow. I don't care if you're heterosexual, transsexual, bisexual, gay, lesbian, poly. We all like BDSM. We're one. And we need to understand that it's important for all of us. It's important for all of us to be able to live the life that we want to live. Yes, we don't want to be in the closet. Yes, we don't want to be hiding. You know, maybe some of us are envious of the two people that walked around on all fours doing puppy play. But is it the right time? Is it the right place? You know, two gay men are not going to can I swear on? I guess I can. Are not going to have intercourse in the middle of a mall. And two lesbians are not going to go down on each other in the middle of a mall. They may hold hands, but they're not going to go into performance and doing something. I saw something at a bar one night that I was appalled by. Absolutely appalled by. A man that's in our community that has an bloated ego, that thinks he's God. It was a vanilla bar, and people were doing some BDSM showcasing. And there was some older people that were in their 60s and 70s, and there were young people, all different ages of people, all vanilla people. And this man decided that he was going to do breath play to this audience. He kept putting his hands around his girl's neck, and she kept going out, and then he kept bringing her back and then doing it again and again. The looks on the faces of the people that were in the room, they were aghast. They thought it was horrible. But in his mind, he was the greatest person on earth. I saw it and it made me sick, because that's what's representing our BDSM community today, who does not know about consensual, who does not know about safe, and who is not sane in the community. And we have more and more people acting up because our younger generation don't give a shit. They really don't. They're going to do what they want to do for shock value. And a lot of people are going to get hurt. A husband and wife may go home after seeing that scene. They may do breath play and they may end up dying, one of them. I mean, you don't know what goes on in someone's heart, and you could kill somebody by doing that. In California, if you put your hands around someone's neck for any reason whatsoever, it is a felony. So the whole thing is that it was pretty bad. It was absolutely pretty horrible. But we have to come together as a community. You guys in the chat room aren't even making comments. You're just listening. Get some comments, because it's getting late. We're going over. We're 13 minutes over. We normally go an hour. But in BDSM, which is bondage, discipline, sadomasochism, think. Think before you do something. Think on how it's going to affect others. Get out of your way. Get out of your ego and think. What can you do personally to make our community better, to bring our community together? What can you do to help to get us out of the closet? For people could understand. Shock value isn't going to do it. Don Javier says, Rev Mel has been in the lifestyle for a very long time. She remembers Sodom and Gomorrah when they were in strip malls. You're terrible. You're terrible. Horrible, Javier. I have been in the lifestyle for a long time, and I preach safety. I preach all these things because how our community looks to the rest of the world matters to me. I don't want to be on the outskirts of the city and they're pointing their fingers, well, they're just kinky people. You know, I have friends that are vanilla. You know, my family's all vanilla. And they don't understand what I do. They don't like what I do. Even my own family. think that I'm strange because of what I do. But BDSM, it's really important that you have to have honor, respect, and integrity. It's the most important thing to have. It's not a free-for-all. And that's why we have TSRnetwork.com. That's why we talk about and we do live shows all about BDSM to educate people, to educate vanilla people. You can have a family member go to TSR Network and watch some of their shows and kind of understand where we're coming from. It's a whole process. Javier in the chat room on TSR says the best thing we can do is to lead by example. That's right. To lead by example. I am known all over the world. Millions of people, millions. I have had over 4 million people watch our shows. That's a lot of people that are aware of TSR Network and what we do, aware of our kink. It's pretty amazing what we have accomplished. We have no budget on TSR Network. You know, we would like it if we were picked up somewhere, like some major studio would pick us up and do TV shows on it, because we don't show nudity. We talk about education as we are the real 50 Shades of Grey. We are the true blue kinksters. The people that I've interviewed have been the movers and the shakers for everywhere from Madonna, Midori, Guy Baldwin, Jay Wiseman. I mean, it goes on and on and on. We have thousands and thousands of interviews that we have done. The people in our community, the ones that really understand it, are amazing people. Don Javier is one of the best. He's in the chat room. He's my best friend. And he says, trust me, TSR has no budget. But we were doing 7 live shows a week with no budget. And I'll tell you something, I was never the happiest. I loved every moment of it, every second of it. It was energizing. We were doing something good. We're very well respected. You know, I can travel all over the world and people will know who I am. People that are in our BDSM community. The vanilla may not know us, but the kinksters do. It's what you put into your life and what you put out there. Not everything that you do in life is for monetary value. Some of it is because you've got the true heart to do it. That soul of who you are. You do things for the positive reason, not the negative reason. I got into BDSM because I was young and inexperienced, and I needed to know more about who I was. Luckily, I had some great mentors. I had some wonderful people that I love dearly. Kane, who owns the Lear Assad, he's my brother. I care for him deeply. Leonora, who is a fabulous woman, who is absolutely amazing. Mistress Nicolette. I mean, the list goes on and on. Hutzi Han. I mean, the list goes on and on about the fabulous people that are into our lifestyle and into our BDSM way of life. We're not much different than you vanilla people. We just have a little more excitement maybe on the weekends, and we do a little more paddling, and we may have a stricter 1950s household. We do things a little differently, but doesn't make us any different than you. We are, like I said, we are mothers, we are fathers, we are business people, we are just like you. We cry, we laugh, we have sex, we have pleasure, we have hard times and good times. Sometimes we fall through the cracks and it gets rough, and sometimes we have enlightenment and we become spiritual. A lot of people that are into BDSM are also into very much of a spiritual life, because there's things that happen to us in this lifestyle that is magnificent. Javier says, I have a question. He says, I want to ask my slave to sell one of her kidneys so I can buy a Maserati. How would I go about asking her that? You're crazy, Javier. You're nuts. I should have not read what you wrote. Like I said, he used to have a show on TSR Network, and it's still up there. You go to TSR Network onto the archives and go into vocal. His shows are there. His jokes, he's funny, he's hysterical. Like I said, 7 live shows running a week, all about the topic of BDSM. Bondage on a Budget is an amazing show. Also, it has he teaches you how Sir Patrick teaches you how to make toys to play with if you like to make things. But his sidekick was always in the nude. She was never had any clothes on. And Tommy used to like that. He liked her boobs. But we don't show nudity anymore, so we can't do nudity, which is okay with me, because it's all about education. And you know what, you guys? It's getting late. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say goodbye to the people that are in the chat room. I adore you all. You guys are amazing, amazing. And to the people that are on Meerkat, we have been airing for an hour and 21 minutes, and pretty amazing. We haven't been turned off even on Periscope. We've been broadcasting too. So if you've missed any of the show, you'll be able to watch the archives on TSRnetwork.com or on YouTube at YouTube TSR Network. So I want to thank you all for watching. This is going to be funny. I'm going to say goodbye to Periscope. Bye-bye, Periscope. We are done. Let me see if I can do this. Okay. That's not what I'm going to do. Okay, stop broadcasting. Bye-bye. Okay, now it ended. Now, Meerkat. Mwah. We've had quite a few people watching us on Meerkat. I want to thank you all for watching Meerkat. Meerkat, I like your app. It's great. Walk in peace, love, and joy. Bye-bye on Meerkat. Now, there, we said stop it? Yes. Stop it. Okay, we have stopped. I think we stopped. Maybe we didn't stop. Oh, save it. Yes, save this stream. Oh no, the stream could not be saved. Okay, well, we've got it anyways. So I want to tell everybody that's in the chat room, I love you guys. And there's going to be some changes going on TSR Network, and lots of changes. So I will give you guys more detail as we get close to it. So I love you all. I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you to everybody in the chat room. You've been watching the Rev Mel Show, where we've been changing the world one vanilla at a time. Bye, everybody. I love you. Bye-bye.